Hey everybody, welcome to the Denizens 2 preview show number 2, because we like the number 2. This show is going to be where we show you a little more than what we did in the last show, including a preview of the Kickstarter crowdfunding page itself and the pledge levels and things like that. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Joseph Goodman of Goodman Games. I'll pass the baton to Chris to introduce himself.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Doyle. I am the Director of 5e Development and Design, and I'll pass the baton over to Mike.
And that makes me Michael Curtis, Director of Project Development for Dungeon Crawl Classics and everything ending with a CC here at Goodman Games, so Expo Classic MCC and various other stuff. And that leaves the one mystery guest. This leaves the Alice to our Brady Bunch. That is, you're not quite the center square, but
at least he's not Oliver.
Amen. So this Alice is named Matt Hildebrand. I am the art director for Goodman Games, and I'm going to take the baton that was handed to me and hand it back to Joseph.
Are you gonna like throw it or like hand it gently?
No, hand it gently. Yep. I mean, you're running ahead of me, so
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
probably struggling, but still, consider it yours.
Great. Thanks. Great pass off, Matt. We're gonna win this sucker.
All right.
So, welcome everybody. We recently shipped a really cool book called Denizens to about, I don't know how many thousands of people, 3,000 or 4,000 people. And we are 96% fulfilled on that crowdfunding. There's always, it's like that analogy in logistics, the last mile is the hardest. So if you haven't gotten it yet, we're working on it. There's still a handful of customers and a couple of markets that we're working on, but 96% of the backers have gotten it. Everybody loves it. The public reception's been awesome. People have bought it in stores, on our online store. It's been really positive. So we're happy to announce Denizens 2, which will be the giant hardcover sequel to 1. It is at its core a really cool monster manual. It's packed with low-level monsters. We all know that those are the kinds you need the most of because people typically play a lot of low-level adventures and it kind of, peters out as things go on. We have lots of the iconic greats, things like dragons, giants, golems, fae, all of the really cool monsters that you want to put into your game and you want to get them into the low levels. You'll find those in Denizens 2. So this time last week, we did a preview show where we talked about some of the many books that are involved in this project, and we'll cover a few more of those here on this show. But what we want to also show you here is a preview of the crowdfunding page itself. We would love your feedback on, actually, especially the pledge levels. Something we've learned over the years as we do crowdfundings that have different things in them, like the foil version, the color version, some accessory items. We often think, well, most backers will probably get items A, B, and C. And then it turns out people want A, D, and F. And a couple times now we've had backers suggest pledge levels on shows like this, and we add that pledge level, and it turns out 500 people wanted that pledge level. So by the time we get to the end of the show, you will have seen all the pledge levels, and we'd love to hear your feedback. Put it in the chat, and if we somehow don't catch it, you can also email info@goodman-games.com. We'd love to hear what you think about how you started the project and if it meets your needs. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about the pre-launch page. And Elena, if you have that one handy, if you can pop it up. But as a reminder, if you follow the project, you'll be the first to know it launches. We're going to launch it. Today is Wednesday. Next Tuesday is the day we plan to launch it at, checking my memory here, I believe we said 9 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. But just in case we screw up and click the button late or whatever, follow the page, make sure you're notified, and people who back in the first 48 hours do get a bonus monster. Just like with Denizens 1, where those early backers got mailed a cardstock page that had the bonus monster that didn't go to other people. You'll get that if you back early, so please follow the project if you haven't already to make sure you get notified. Excuse me. And that was the Walking Eye, as I recall. Chris, right? I think that was the bonus monster for the first 48 hours.
There's a lot of things in my head right now, but yes, I believe that is the bonus monster.
I think there's like 350 monsters in your head right now, right? You got the table of contents memorized, ready to go. Yeah, it's a lot. And then if you back early, 48 hours or earlier, you also get the Advanced Advantage Playtest Pack number 2, which we're kind of calling the mini monster manual because it's where Advanced Advantage starts applying some of its mechanics to monsters, and a free 16-sided die to make use of. So it's a bunch of cool stuff for people who back early. So if you're not already backing it, please do back it. And as a reminder, if you back, you get the crowdfunding edition of the book, which is going to have extra pages that are not in the retail edition. So retail edition will have, I actually grabbed the one that's the retail edition. Crowdfunding edition has a different blurb on the cover and has bonus pages. So that was a lot of stuff. Follow the project if you don't mind. Yeah. And then, so Elena, if you can show the graphic that has kind of the core products. I kind of talked through some of this already, but the sort of basic idea here is a really cool monster manual. So we will have, I got to rearrange all the stuff on my desk here. We will have 2 versions of it. And I'm going to show you Dungeon Denizens 1 because I happen to have it and it's really cool. But we'll have for 2 also a DCC edition and a 5e edition. So same 350-ish monsters in each one, more or less the same art, but obviously the stats in one are DCC, the stats in the other are 5e. So for Dungeon Denizens 2, we're taking a similar approach. And for Dungeon Denizens 2, we'll have foil editions. These look awesome. They have their bonus Kickstarter pages. Again, this is 1. We love how this turned out. So for 2, we'll do something similar. And Matt, you said, so Doug Kovacs did this art. You said Doug is close to turning in his art for 2. So we'll eventually be able to preview that on the crowdfunding campaign.
Totally the case. Yep.
Cool.
And I think our general idea is to keep them similar, like looking in the same family as 1. So if you're stacking 1 on your shelf next to 2, they're going to have some similar elements, which will be nice.
Cool. And one thing we've been talking to with our printer is, I don't know if you can see this. This is printed on kind of a reptile hide texture, which was a custom job for the printer. I asked them to find out what other reptile hides they could get. So I actually have like a whole bunch, and these all have different textures. So we are going to sort of vote amongst ourselves and then offer backers maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 options for what texture they would want on their reptile hide book.
Mhm.
And then perhaps let backers vote. And I have to add an asterisk there because there's all sorts of variables when you do something like this. Can the printer get enough yardage? You know, are they currently out of stock at the like alligator skin factory or whatever? So we'll let backers vote and then, you know, do our best to get what they want. But I think we'll give backers a chance to have input into the Reptile Hut edition. Then in addition to the core books, we have the 2-page dungeon delves, which are in a very popular format where the entire dungeon is sort of in the 5 to 6 encounter range and fits on 2 pages and a 2-page spread. A really cool t-shirt and then BTT tokens. So yeah, that's the basic setup of the campaign. Let me pass it off to Chris. And Chris, maybe you could we talked through a lot of 5th edition products on the last show, a lot of them. I figured this one we could talk through some of the floppy adventures, like 5th edition fantasy number 35, number 36, the Flumps catalog of curiosities, and Advanced Advantage. Do you want to tell everybody about those?
Sure. Which do we want to, do we care what we talk about first? So just jump in.
The floor is yours.
So,
pick
okay.
the one you're most excited about.
So let's talk about Advanced Advantage number 2, playtest packet number 2. So the first Advanced Advantage packet, which was in our previous campaign, kind of laid the foundation of what we're doing with the dice train and moving up and down. Instead of doing Advantage where you're rolling 2 die 20s, you're actually going up and down the dice train to roll either bigger or smaller dice, depending if you've got advantage or disadvantage. And that's why you're getting the die 16 on this, so you're going to use that. So that was the very first packet. So this packet is all about monsters. So this is basically how do we take all of those rules that we kind of that we're working on in I like to call it it's not the Muppet Labs, it's the 5e game labs. So because the Muppet Labs are awesome. I always thought the Muppet with Dr. Bunsen Honeydew. So yeah, so we're basically taking those rules and we're going to apply them to monsters. So there's some cool things that we're doing. So for example, as we mentioned, you could get advantage on more than just a die 20 roll. So you can get advantage for, let's say, rolling your hit points for your monster. So dragons are big and huge. So dragons should probably have advantage on their hit dice. So instead, if you have a huge dragon and normally you get a die 12 on its hit die, well, now it's got a die 16. Or if it's gargantuan and it's got a die 20 for its hit die, now it's got a die 24. So not a huge difference, but it's definitely got more hit points. So so we're doing a bunch of things like that. We're also going to be reworking damage resistances and damage vulnerability. So in the past, those involved math, and we all know that people don't like math. So instead of like rolling a bunch of damage and then actually trying to figure out what half of 47 is, instead
wait,
bump...
I got it. Wait, 20.
Yeah.
Hold on.
See?
Wait, 23.
And now you just ruined it to the game table for everybody else. So so now
your system is so much better, Chris.
I know.
Amazing.
So now you'll just roll different dice depending on if you have you'll go up or down the thing, so that basically you're just chucking the dice and just then you have to do the math of adding all the dice up. So but there's only one math. It's not 2 maths. So we took 1 math away and we're passing the savings on to you. So, and the other cool thing about this is we're going to take probably 10 or so. Joe mentioned that this packet's going to have the mini monster manual. We're going to take 10 of the monsters from Dungeon Denizens 2 and then apply all of our Advanced Advantage bits and bobs to them, so you can kind of see how it works. And then we're going to unveil what we like to call in-house in the 5e Muppet Labs, we like to call the Battle Box. And the Battle Box is a brand new innovation, cutting edge. All the kids are going to be talking about it on the social media platforms and stuff. So this is basically us taking the 5e sprawling, and I say that in a lovingly way, sprawling statistical box with all of the bits that you need to run a monster and encounter, and really distilling it down to a very small, like a couple of lines. Is it going to be perfect? No, but that should be all the information you need to actually run this monster like in combat. So we'll be unveiling the battle box in addition to the monsters. We'll probably do the full spreads for the 10 monsters in the monster manual, and then we'll do the battle box. So lots of cool things. So Advanced Advantage is going to really tie into the whole monster theme here, which we're really psyched about.
That's cool. That'll be cool.
Yes, and I should probably be looking at the chat to see if there's any questions about that. So,
all
right, so moving on. So, 5th edition fantasy number 35, or is
Wait, Mike, sorry, Mike was trying to jump in. Mike, do you have a keen insight?
Before I forget, tagline: more fun, less math.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not bad. Hold on, I'm gonna write that one down. Hold on.
Yes.
I also like this suggestion in the chat to do Krakenhide. That has a ring to it.
Ooh, Krakenhide does sound really good.
Yeah.
More fun, less math.
Yes, and use Kraken ink too. Yes. All right, so now we're going to move on to 5th edition fantasy number 35. So this is the Frozen Lair of the White Wyvern. So this is an all-new adventure. It's going to come in at about 24, 28 pages long. It's still to be determined. This features 12 monsters that are pulled from Dungeon Denizens 2, but don't worry if you don't have Dungeon Denizens 2, we'll put the stat boxes in the adventure for you, so you'll have them ready to go. There's also new magic items. There's 5 new magic items. There's 20 encounter areas. And this is featured around it. It's a frozen, it's a Arctic adventure, but you're going to an accursed vale that's kind of stuck in winter, if you will, and you're going to go confront the White Wyvern, which you can see on the cover there. But the cool thing about this is you're hired by your patron to actually capture the wyvern, not kill the wyvern. So, a little bit of interesting bit there. And then of course, it wouldn't be a cool adventure if then that benefactor that hired you doesn't like try to backstab you at the end. So, so anyway, this could be a really interesting kind of turning of the tables where you've got the wyvern and then the patron actually is against you at the end. So really excited about this one because it's going to pull in a bunch of those new monsters. It's even got a couple of monsters from Dungeon Denizens 1, and a couple of brand new monsters as well. I forgot to mention there's 2 brand new monsters in there. So that is 5th edition fantasy number 35, and that is just in 5e. Somebody Dogface701 put that in the chat.
Just to be clear, though, there's a ton of DCC stuff as well in this project.
We're getting to that. We're getting.
Yeah,
to that.
Michael. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Yeah,
There'll
exactly.
be stuff. There'll be stuff. And then the last thing I need to talk about is 5th edition fantasy number 36. This is Revenge of the Rat King. This is a classical update to 5th edition, written originally by Harley Stroh. Some of you folks might be familiar with Harley. So this is a sequel to Idols of the Rat King, which is FEF number 31, which was in the previous campaign. You don't need to play it as a sequel if you want, but if you do, your play experience will be enhanced. Someone told me to say that. So no, but this is cool. This is for 5th level characters. It can be adjusted for 4th to 6th level characters if need be. And obviously you're going to go up against were-rats and the Rat King again. This one's really cool. The whole dungeon is an elaborate ruse, a deception, if you will. And you get captured and you have to figure out how to escape. And then once you escape, then you have to go bring the fight to the Rat King. Really, really interesting adventure. The artwork on this is just amazing. I love how the cover artwork came out for this new version. So really excited about this. It's got like 40 encounter areas, new monsters. It's got 4-player handouts. This one's going to clock in at least 32 pages. It might actually inched over more towards like 36 pages long once it's all said and done. Once we get those player handouts put together really nicely and everything. So yeah, so that's a little bit of a thumbnail. And I didn't even talk about the flump book, the magic item book. I think we talked about this last time. This is a hardcover book of 300 plus magic items. We are busily away of hammering them into shape right now. We have all of the magic items in house. We are working on adding the flump extra special touches to them as we speak. So we're really excited about this book. I think I mentioned this on the stream last week. The team that worked on this, over 20 different designers have worked on this. A few of them I've not worked with before, so it's always exciting. They were just so into working on these magic items. It was like a breath of fresh air. They were like excited to just, pour their creative energy into a bunch of magic items, all different things. We've got artifacts in there. We've got rings. We've got potions. We've got scrolls, wands, stabs, the whole 9 yards. People just had a blast putting this one together. So we think we might have be scratching an itch that people are really going to want to have scratched here. So we're looking forward to that. I think that's the last 5e book that I need to mention. That was just a drop of luck.
And there's other 5e stuff, but we covered a lot of it in the last stream. So this is the floppy adventures to a few things we hadn't talked about in depth. And yeah, Chris, there's a lot of options in this campaign for sure.
There is.
And so, Mike, I think you were going to talk about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just going to mention that the cover we're looking at a minute ago is still a work in progress, not quite finished yet, but it's every instance of it looks better. And truthfully, Chris, I did get the final version of the Rat King just the other day from Stefan. The one we're looking at is almost there, but the finished version is outstanding. So I can't wait to show that off at some point.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, so now it's on the other side of the fence for the DC fans out there. And as Joe intimated before, is we do have a bunch of stuff for DCC. I'm going to break tradition, and I'm going to start with the all new stuff first, because usually it's like we give you some, and then we wait to the end. But at this point, you got stuff to do today. No, but I think we mentioned this in the last show, but there is going to be 2 new skinny adventures, we call them floppy adventures, which are going to be for the CC line. The first one is going to be DCC number 112, and that is called The Mother of Monsters, written by Marzio Muschedri. This is a second level adventure for DCC, and if you have the DCC annual volume 1, you may recall that there is some rules in there for monster patronage, and the monster patronage is the Mother of Monsters. And surprise, Mother of Monsters makes an appearance in the Mother of Monsters. There is a cabal of druids who have said, enough of all this, it's time to bring the Mother of Monsters back because she's cool, and there's no weather bay to embrace neutrality by throwing chaos in the mix. So they are trying to basically bring the Mother of Monsters back into the world. Your characters kind of get a whiff of it and start investigating things and discover the druid's nefarious plot. It involves some dungeon crawling. There's a nice Marzio did a nice point crawl that is involved, that you can kind of on your way to find the druid secret headquarters and wander back here and there without having to worry about counting hexes. There's a lot of interesting encounters there. The Mother of Monsters is making strange mutations to existing monsters, so you never know what to expect. And there's some bonus content in the back if you want to make these druids a ongoing foe in your campaign, or to expand more on the Mother of Monster concept. So we have had that back in. Marzio has just finished up the revisions. It's going to be going out to editing very soon. So all is well in there, and as you can see, we have a cover for it, and it's looking pretty good. So that is Mother Monsters. Keeping the monster theme going, we're going to go into MCC number 106. MCC number 16. Sorry, I had one of this. This is the Book of Monstrous Mutants, and this is actually, I think, our second, what you might want to call a source book. We did one previously for the MCC line, and this is our first all mutant book. And when I mean mutants, I don't mean mutations. I mean actual things that want to come out to the wasteland and eat your head. So there's 25 monsters, 25 mutants in this book, running things from radium wolves. We've got a swarms of like sentient microplastic who want to invade your bloodstream. We have, basically, mind-bursting mutants. We've got we have evil butterflies, which maybe aren't evil butterflies. It's MCC, so you never know what you're going to get. There's a wide variety of stuff to be encountered in there. So this is going to be our floppy book. This is we're putting this together right now. It will be black and white, but is going to be some awesome stuff in it. And who knows, if it proves popular, maybe we give it a bigger treatment somewhere down the road. Maybe there's I don't know, maybe there's mutant denizens or something. So, but we'll get there after we see how much people love the Book of Monstrous Mutants. So that is the all new stuff, but it's not the coolest of the cool stuff, because we have a bunch of hardcovers heading your way, and starting with something we discussed last time, and this is the DCC leather-bound edition. And this is not pleather. This is full on old school leather. This is a cow gave up its life.
Sorry, I forgot to tell you guys. Next weekend we're going to kill the cows.
Okay, that's
so. Yeah. So
on the way to the alligator farm, right? So
right, exactly. Yeah.
So this is going to be our. I have my list here. This is what we're calling the lucky 13th, but it's actually the 14th printing for various reasons, because things are out. So this is the 14th printing. The contents will be the same as the 13th, but we're going all out for this one. We're going to have we'll be on some of the versions. If you back early, we'll be having an autograph page. We did that with the 4th printing, which turned to be incredibly popular. So we'll have a tipped in autograph page. In the back, we're going to include kind of some retrospective material. It's been more than 10 years now since essentially we're coming on 30.
Actually, Mike, I can remember because my son was born right before it hit stores.
Right.
So it has been over 13 years. My older son, it's crazy. And just to be clear, there's bonus pages. The leatherbound has all the stuff in the regular plus TBD, but probably 16 or 20 bonus pages, which will have all the stuff Mike's talking about.
Right. That's what we were going on. So we'll have some.
Yeah.
We'll have some, some photos of where we've been and where we've gotten to. We'll have, kind of a checklist of the various covers that we've had, the various printings of it. We'll probably dive into some of the adventures and stuff. Still a work in progress, but it's going to be a nice way to look back at the history and how DCC has grown for, since it's been going around, since it was this kind of crazy idea that nobody really got. We were a very tiny booth at Gen Con. Gen Con 2014. So it's going to be awesome with that. We will have, as is our want, we occasionally do reprints we do new printings of it, and we do limited edition covers. We have one which features a new cover by William McAusland, which is kind of a wraparound cover, showing off Will's work. That one, the contents will be the same, except for we're not going to have the bonus stuff on. The bonus stuff is, the stuff in the back is only going to be for the leatherbound. Oh, and I forgot to mention leatherbound slipcase as well. So, so even to protect that leather, to take that real cowhide, we'll actually have something made from real card stock or whatever.
Genuine cardboard.
Yeah.
Just like our genuine imitation alligator skin. And wait, I got to throw in something else, Mike, too. Sorry to keep interrupting, but that San Julian cover, somebody mentioned in the chat, that San Julian cover of I call it the pterodactyl wizard. I love that image. We actually reprinted it twice, which we've never done before with a limited edition cover. Then we threw it onto the quick start rules at one point. It's probably 4 or 5 years old at this point, but it like warms my heart. So when we started talking about the fact that we're going to have a real leather edition and we should have a slipcase, something to kind of protect it, it was like natural to say, let's just reuse that cover again. So the slipcase, so if you buy the leatherbound, you're also going to get the slipcase, which also has that amazing San Julian art. So it's kind of like an amazing bonus. It looks amazing.
It is far too much cool in one single package.
Yes.
But just when you think we can't do anything strange enough, well, if we're going to reprint DCC, it's time to reprint the MCC core book as well. And this one is also getting a cool treatment. This one, I don't know if this has ever been done before, because we actually had to go to the printer and say, "Can you do this?" And the printer usually says, "I don't know. Nobody's ever asked this before." So this one it's kind of a mixture of fluorescent, day glow, neon color art stuff, glow in the dark, and there's one of those things. It's basically they threw everything at the cover and see if it still continues to glow, after the apocalypse. So it is a shout out to everything that the 80s taught us that post-apocalypse would be. It would be glowing and fluorescent. So there was this is Doug did the cover. Doug did the design for this, I believe.
Actually,
Right?
this was Stefan, I think, years
Okay.
ago.
Okay.
True story. Yep.
All right. I'd say
Yeah.
there've been so many limited edition covers I've been looking at recently. I forget who's well. So luckily,
Mhm.
I'm just in charge of the words. That's it.
Mhm.
That's the one who does all the stuff that on the outside.
But I do think that Doug is doing the artwork for the spine and the back cover for this one, so his work is going to be represented for sure, Mike.
Okay. So
And
cool.
that reminds me, I should give you guys the latest update. So Mike's not kidding. We often, hi Tiffany, if you're watching this, I have a great printer rep. She tolerates all of our special requests. So that's actually Matt's idea like a year ago. He's like, in the next printing, we should do fluorescent ink. So we started this conversation. Turns out they can get fluorescent ink. It's a special kind of ink. And then we were like, can we do that and glow in the dark ink? Turns out they can do that too. We're going to get test print done because I'm worried that the fluorescentness of the fluorescent might be whatever defluorescicized if we add glow in the dark ink on top. So they're doing a test print for us of fluorescent on like the back cover, then fluorescent plus glow on the front cover to make sure it's all still, bright enough. But what the latest news is, I wanted it to be on kind of a leatherette texture, like one of those, faux leathers we do. Turns out due to highly technical stuff that I barely understand, they can't put fluorescent ink on top of a leatherette due to something in the printing world. So we're going to actually have to do a printed cover, like traditional, it's called PLC, but with a fluorescent ink layer applied. Anyway, it's a good thing we're working through all this now. So we are working through it all, and we will eventually be able to get you guys a really cool fluorescent cover with glow in the dark ink applied as well. And it's going to look awesome. And as Mike said, I don't think anybody has done this in the gaming industry before, or at least our printers never dealt with it before. And they print a lot of books for a lot of gaming companies.
Have you asked if we could make the cover out of rusted diamond plate? Because that would be really post-apocalyptic. It look like something really off of like Mad Max cars.
Actually, so when we had this conversation, they can do metal printing, and they did it for Catalyst, I believe. Had this printer, Regent. They're a great printer. If you happen to be an indie publisher, they're great. They do big print runs, but they do super specialized stuff. So in addition to printing our quote normal books, they do like the really weird stuff, like the reptile hides. Yeah, they did a metal bound. I can't remember what product line it was, but it was a metal bound book for Catalyst. And it was actually full on metal. And they told me it was actually really hard because it's very easy to scuff or scrape metal. It was a very complicated, difficult process. But Mike, I'm sure if we pursued this, we could get it. It's just whether the backers want to pay however much it costs to do the rusted metal tetanus edition of like MCC RPG.
Comes with a tetanus shot. That's it, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, so we're thinking about so obviously this is Goodman Games. We never know what we're going to come up with next. Usually live on some show, and then we forget to write it down, which is why I said let's like write down less map, more fun, less map, so we remember.
Yeah. I wrote it down. Don't worry, we're good.
All right. So as people may or may not know, last year, I think it was last year. It had to be last year. We did the hardcover version of Sailors on. No, we already did. We did.
Sailors of the Starless Sea. Yeah. It's coming out. It's going to ship with Thracia in like 2 months, month or two.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think backers have seen it yet. Of course, we've obviously sent it to the printer, but yeah.
We're having this discussion today. Like our minds are so far away on something because like that stuff is moving along and we're already looking to the future, and then we have to be yes, that's what we did.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're giving another one of the classic adventures, DCC number 68, and this is People of the Pit. And we will also be giving this the hardcover treatment. So this is going to be the original adventure, and then in the pack we're going to be doing more of a retrospective. Joe is going to do a short essay about his experience writing it and why he wouldn't write it that way again.
That's right. I got to do that. Let me write that down.
So yeah,
Right.
Write it on the plane on your way to GaryCon. That's what you need to do.
Yes. Okay.
So we have that. We mentioned last time that Stefan Pogue did a graphic novel comic adaptation of the original A.A. Merritt story, and so we're going to be including that in the back. So we're going to be getting. You don't have to sit down and read the whole story. You can actually watch it in beautiful, four panel format. So we'll have that in the back, and we're going to have some of some of Doug's kind of preliminary sketch art and stuff. So we're still putting the other pieces of it, but it will have the additional stuff. And there will be two versions of that. We would have the standard hardcover, and we're also going to have a limited edition cover as well, which will have some foil. And I think that's the one Doug did. I knew Doug was in my mind for doing a foil. That's what I was thinking when I said the MCC one. So he's going to do the cool one on that. So yeah, so we have two versions of DCC 68 hardcover, People in the Pit, and then last we have the DCC slipcase, and I have that down on my notes, and I remember us discussing the slipcase for the. So remind me, Joe, about the DCC slipcase, because
that's one we just talked about, the San
Okay,
Julian
all right.
cover. That and you can
That's
also
what
buy it by itself if you want, or just
that's what I thought, but I just wanted due diligence to make sure that's what the slipcase was. So okay.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I have to say this. Every printing of the DCC core rulebook is slightly different, right? So we've, in addition to the contents changing out, because Stefan wanted to redraw his art, then Doug wanted to redraw some art, like the interior changes, but the printing specs change over time because we've reprinted it 13 times, 14 times, whatever it is. So like the printer paper changes. Occasionally we switch printers due to one reason or another. So the spine widths vary by, I don't know, a millimeter or two, depending on which printing. So when we sell you a slipcase, it's going to say on the pledge, we only guarantee it's going to fit this printing. So if you happen to have the 7th printing, the 4th printing, the 8th printing, the 9th printing, it might fit that. I don't know. But it's going to be, we just need to say it may or may not fit prior printings. In case you're planning to buy the slipcase and you get home and you can't jam your book in because the 5th printing was at some other printer and it's a little, it's a millimeter thicker.
Okay.
Those damn millimeters.
Yeah, I know.
And sometimes it's a 1/4 millimeter on this one, and then
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
All right, so that comes up the pure DCC MCC stuff for this project. So I think it's time to hear from Big Bald Matt. Matt.
I think that might be true. Thank you. So we have another one other piece of this project is kind of a well, we're calling it How to Write Better Adventures, right? It's a book that has been popular for years. I feel like it's a combination of the content on the inside and the striking cover. Chris and I have talked about, for whatever reason, it attracts eyes. Like at the booth, people zip right toward it and pick it up. And once they hear what's inside, they're hooked. And in this case, it is industry luminaries that are giving incredible tidbits of advice on how to write adventures that don't suck, or even better is a nicer way to say it.
Yes. So this was the original How to Write Adventure Modules That Don't Suck. It just keeps on ticking. We've sold so many copies. People love it. And that's why, as Matt's telling you, we're doing How to Write Even Better Adventures.
Better adventures. Next iteration. It's like after you read the first book, you're no longer writing adventures that suck, but you still want to learn them better.
Yeah.
The next thing.
That suck even less and are even better and better. And we have a what's that called? A murderer's row of incredible talent for this one.
I think it may be Rogues Gallery, but
okay, that might be
A-list
the case.
Might be a better word.
A-list. All right.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a picture guy. I don't know. Anyway, so we have a mock-up for the cover for this, which is amazing. There's going to be art inside too, but the most of the content is basically secrets. It's deep secrets by industry professionals who are going to give you all the tricks and tips that they've learned over the course of time. There you go. I think we're taking a look at the cover now. It's still kind of got that same look of the old notebooks that we or your parents used in high school, and with some cool cartoon art by Chuck Wellen on it. And more art inside, but the real key to this one is going to be the tips and tricks that you get from all these folks, including a few of the people on this call, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
Somebody else will be writing something on the flight out to GaryCon as well.
That's great. Very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. As Matt said, it's just essays by people who have a ton of experience writing amazing game design content, and every one of them has something to offer you, and it may directly apply, or it might be the kind of thing you mull over for a while and realize, oh, that's right, I could totally apply it here. But each of these people has traveled their own journey and gotten to the place where people want to hear from them, and we're happy to share their words with you.
I'm gonna
Nice.
I'm gonna take a guess and say there's probably a combined 500 years or more of a game. I'm serious. I mean, we've 200 like 20 plus, 20 plus
Yeah.
people, and everybody's been there for at least 5 years. So I mean,
Mhm.
some of them been in decades. I mean, I can account for,
Yeah.
so yeah.
It's a lot of good experience.
That's great. Very cool.
Cool. So I saw a question in the chat about the pledge level preview. We're going to get there in like 2 or 3 minutes, but there's like 1 or 2 more things to cover first. Next thing I want to discuss is how backers can take part in this project. So we are going to open up some of the monster submissions to backers. We did this on the original Dungeon Denizens book, and it actually worked out awesome. We got, well, Chris and Mike can tell you, we got a lot of great submissions. It was hard to narrow it down, but we picked whatever it was, 16 or 20, the final count, and 20. Yeah. And then many of those writers submitted such excellent work that we went back later and say, hey, we need some more help on this other writing project. Could you, would you be willing to help with that? So it's a foot in the door, so to speak, if you would like to be a professional writer. So what we're going to do on Dungeon Denizens 2 is open up the same process. There'll be 2 kinds of stretch goals. One will be sort of dollar-based. As we clear enough money to add more pages to the book, we will actually unveil new monsters, and the crowdfunding edition of the book will have extra pages with bonus content of extra monsters. But in addition, as we get more backers, more people involved, we're going to, the more people you have, just the way the bell curve works, we expect there to be more and more talent in that pool. So as more backers come on, we will start opening up more monsters for backer submissions. And if you back the project, you will be eligible to submit your idea for a monster. And we're going to select a certain number, depending on the number of backers, to be part of the published product. So you'll see as the campaign goes, how many slots we have open, so to speak. But if you're interested in contributing, this is a great chance. So make sure to pay attention when we go live. Then 2 other things to mention for those who want to be involved. The first is, if you don't know about it, Goodman Games has a thing called the Road Crew, which is where we give you lots of free stuff if you run our products in a public place. It can be at a game store, obviously, or your or a bar, or your church, or school, library. Actually, you can live stream it, Twitch, YouTube, any kind of public demonstration of our products, running adventures, whatever it might be. You earn swag, and the swag, it's really cool. It's everything from pencils and pens up to like this year we have a 3D6 with a custom logo on it. We have a stadium cup. We have all sorts of cool stuff. But I'm mentioning this because the Road Crew is not only for running games, but we're running an encounter contest this year. So if you go to our blog, goodmangames.com, and right near the top, I think it's the 2nd or 3rd update right now, is details on the encounter contest. It's another way to, get your name out there if you're an aspiring writer. So if you're interested in having some of your work published, check out the Road Crew encounter contest, and also check out Dungeon Denizens 2. And the last thing is, if you want to make money doing something fun, we are going to give you the opportunity. Okay, great. Well, you already do, right? So that doesn't count.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's true. I thought I could have more fun and make more money, but it's fun.
Good point. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
So, no, but we want people to run games at Gen Con, which is theoretically work, but you're basically playing games for 12 to 16 hours. If you run a bunch of games for the Goodman Games crew at Gen Con, we will give you lots of free stuff. So specifically a badge to Gen Con, which somebody just reminded me costs $180 this year. So that's a pretty good value. We also give you a hotel credit. So depending on which events you run, you'll get $100 or $200 towards your hotel bill. And then some other cool stuff as well. Depending on what you choose to run, you may be running a play test of an unpublished adventure and get yourself some playtester credit. So if you're interested in running events at Gen Con, shoot an email to info@goodman-games.com. We still have, I believe, a couple slots open. Last time I talked to Brendan, both 5e and DCC. It sounds like 5e is the one we need to fill the last couple slots on. So anyway, those are all options out there for people who want to get involved. So now, drum roll, let's take a look at the crowdfunding project. So Elena, if you don't mind, bring up that window. And what we are showing you guys is the not yet finished, but mostly final preview of the project. We're showing it to you for a couple important reasons. The main one is that we'd like your feedback. We want to hear from you if this meets your needs in terms of explaining the products effectively. Sometimes we do these really large books and we get all excited about one feature. Then later on, we hear people really love the appendix, or some part that we didn't even talk about. So tell us if this covers what you want to know, if there's other stuff you want to know. In addition, after a minute or two on the main product page, we're going to skip over and show you the pledge levels. And we'd love to hear if there's so many things in this project, if this mix and match meets your needs in terms of what you want out of the project. So Elena, we're going to I'll sort of, scroll through the page and show people. So we're looking at the top right now, that graphic that says bonus pages in the crowdfunding edition. As we mentioned, if you get the hardcover editions, either Monster Hide or color cover as part of the crowdfunding, you'll get the bonus roughly 16 pages in the back with extra monsters that won't be in the retail edition. We got the VTT tokens, the reptile hide texture, etc. Then there's 350 monsters in one huge tome. Matt literally has 350 monsters at his disposal. He picked 9 to show you on this page. Matt, they do have kind of like a color coordination to them. I like how that graphic turned out.
They just might. Yep.
Yeah, similar palette.
Mm-hmm.
But in the audience, if you were like, doggone it, why didn't they show me a more undead or whatever, we can your feedback on that. But showing you a couple of the monsters that are in this huge tome. And then there's a button there to download a PDF preview. So if you've bought Dungeon Denizens 1, you know what you're getting. But if you want to see versions of Dungeon Denizens 2, we'll give you the chance to download the preview there, show you both 5e and DCC. And then how to write even better adventures. Here's your, what is it, Chris, you called it? Here's your A-list of authors. There's like 20, 25 authors contributing. It's a huge list.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, it's hard to narrow it down to one graphic. So we may make this graphic like a GIF or something to, sort of swap out different headshots, because we tried to fit them all and it was like too big. But just reading the names you see here, essays from some guy named Michael Curtis. I think I know that guy. Michael Curtis, Kelsey Dion, Chris Doyle, another guy I know, Matt Forbeck, Jerry Grayson, Ed Greenwood, Luke Gygax, Kenneth Height, Brendan LaSalle, Robin D. Laws, Sean Merwin, Gene Rabe, Phil Reed, Sean K. Reynolds, Harley Stroh, plus another like 10 or 15 that we didn't squeeze into the graphic. So it is a staggering amount of talent offering advice on how to write even better adventures. Then we have some of the 5e titles that are being offered. As Chris mentioned, the Flumps catalog of magical curiosities, Advanced Advantage number 2, the mini monster manual, and 5th edition fantasy number 35, number 36. It's a bummer. The art on all these is amazing. But that thumbnail size, you can't really see it. So maybe we'll have to do like a Kickstarter, a crowdfunding update where we just show the flat out art, because you can't see how cool the art is at that thumbnail size. Then some of the DCC stuff, we have the leather bound. So the upper left, you see the San Julian slipcase, and then right beside it, the leather bound DCC edition with the new Demon Skull by Doug, which turned out awesome. And the People of the Pit foil cover, and below it, the color cover, and all the other DCC and MCC covers, which look awesome. Oh, the Monster Alphabet. Yes. So the Monster Alphabet oversized edition. We didn't talk about that on this one. What you're seeing here on the screen is actually, Matt, do you want to talk about Errol's sketch and all that stuff?
Sure. Yeah. Yep. We're doing our best here to try to give you an idea of what this book is going to look like. And in a word, it's going to be impressive. It's 11 by 14, and it's in the first place. So that's a little bit oversized compared to everything else that we're looking at. This cover is, as Joe said, this is just a sketch that Errol sent over to say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. And he's been feverishly working on the artwork. I think that Gary Kahn is going to put a dent in his ability to get it finished. Regardless, once he's back home at his studio, he's going to finish it up, and we'll be able to post an updated image at that point. This book lives in the alphabet family, right, with our dungeon alphabet, and I think we have an adventurers alphabet, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless,
Cthulhu alphabet.
Cthulhu alphabet.
Yeah. Monster alphabet, dungeon alphabet. Yeah.
Adventurers Almanac is the one I was thinking of.
Oh yeah.
But this one needed a new cover. It's been a while since it's been published, and so we're going through the interior layout is being edited to address the bigger 11 by 14 size. We're going to get new artwork on the cover, and technically there's going to be a little bit of synergy between the cover of this and Dungeon Denizens, because Errol did that one too. So I am really excited to see what this is going to end up with. That's one of the best parts of my job, is sitting and getting an email from someone like Errol Otis with an incredible piece of artwork and then getting to put my hands on it and mock these things up. So,
and we were very inspired because Mr. Michael Curtis wrote a book called The Dungeon Alphabet, which is a wonderful book, has gone through several printings. It was translated to German, and our German translator sent over their version. And I'm going to put a normal size book beside this for scale. They first inspired us to start thinking about this 11 by 14 format. It is really cool. And they did it partly because the German language is just longer than English. So they needed more room on the page to fit all the letters, basically. But like a lot of the art is amazing and looks great at scale. And we had
Mhm.
already had some tables that were kind of crammed in there. And seeing this German edition, uh,
We summoned Daniel. He's in there.
oh, is he there? Oh,
Yeah.
hey, Daniel.
Greetings from
How's it
Germany.
going? Daniel, you inspired us. It was your DOS Dungeon Alphabet that inspired us to do the oversized edition. Yeah, man, your book looked great. So we are going to do a oversized edition of the Monster Alphabet. And so Daniel, you know what this means? If we do an 11 by 14 of Monster Alphabet, you're gonna have to take it up to like, I don't know what, 17 by 22 or something.
24 by 32. Yeah.
Yeah, tabloid size. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's going to look awesome. And when we get Errol's final art in a couple weeks after GaryCon, we will share it with everybody. The sketch alone is like pretty darn cool. I'm
Mhm.
sure the final art's going to be amazing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Excited about that one.
So just quickly scrolling through the rest of the page here. Yeah, 350 monsters. I love Chris. I think it was your alliteration here, but an abundance of aberrations, a conglomeration of constructs, a legion of humanoids, a drove of demons and devils, a flock of fae, an array of elementals, a heap of beasts, a mob of monstrosities, a pod of plant-like creatures, a gang of giants, a wing of dragons, fully developed foes for low-level play. It turned out great. And then finally, the backer design monsters. Oh, and the stretch goals. So you can see they're all kind of faded out here. As we clear them, they will be revealed, and you will see the additional monsters that'll get packed into your book. So now, did I forget anything, guys, or should we go into the pledge levels?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, there's
lots of stretch goals.
so many stretch goals. Yeah, it takes a minute to scroll through everything.
Yeah.
But this is an exciting part too, as these get unlocked, like revealing all of them and like digging into the not only how they look, but some of the lore. This is monsters are the best. The monsters are the best
Yeah.
part of this game.
Yeah.
I think from the beginning it's always been monsters. It's been you. It's always been you.
Okay. All right. Matt and his 350 monster friends.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's go on to the pledge levels. So again, we want your feedback. There's a lot of stuff in this campaign. If you are, 5-year DCC fan and you want to mix this slightly different from what we're showing you or something similar, please speak up. So pledge levels, we're going to start at the top here. There are several that are so-called featured, and that Elena's clicking buttons. Click, 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 click. Oh, okay. Do you need me to send you the link, Elena? It sounds like I'm talking to myself, but Elena is actually.
What do you mean? I don't hear Elena. What do you?
No.
All right. So try that, Elena. Yeah, my imaginary friend is named Elena. What's your imaginary friend named?
I have 350 and they're all monsters.
Yes. They're named Raw.
My imaginary friend, strangely enough, was named Matt.
uh,
And then Matt went to.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're going to be right back. Technical difficulties, but give us 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, we're back, and hopefully you can all see the pledge levels. My imaginary friend fixed the problem, so we are now back in business. So again, we're going to walk through the pledge levels. Tell us if you want to see something different or you'd rather mix and match. We always offer you savings if you pledge for the crowdfunding. The sort of baseline level is 10% for the add-ons, and then 15 to 25% if you mix and match pledge levels. It adds efficiencies on our end if we bundle stuff together, which is why the sort of discount gets better if you add more stuff. So starting at the top of these featured levels, you can get, of course, Dungeon Denizens in the color cover editions for either 5e or DCC RPG, which you see right here. And as a reminder, we always give you the PDF for free when you buy a print version. So that's why it has a little PDF included free here and save 15%. By the way, Matt, these covers turned out awesome. So the 5e cover is by San Julian. The DCC cover is by Doug. Every time I see those, I'm reminded of how cool they are.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah. Then we have kind of the big collections of stuff. So we're calling this the basic collection for all the Dungeon Denizens 2 crowdfunding stuff. So you have a 5e side and a DCC side. Each of these are the same price because even though it's 5e versus DCC, it's more or less the same MSRPs across the floppies and the hardcovers and so on. So on the 5e side, you get the main color cover, huge hardcover at 350 pages. You get the really cool Denizens 2 t-shirt. You get 2-page Dungeon Delves #2. And the 2 5th edition fantasy adventures. And then, of course, Advanced Advantage, the VTT tokens, and the PDFs for free. And that's at a 20% savings. Then the DCC side, you get the DCC huge hardcover with 350 pages, the Denizens 2 t-shirt, 2-page Dungeon Delves 2, which, as a reminder, is systems neutral. Or I guess technically it's dual statted for 5e and DCC. So you can use that for either rule set. Then DCC 112, Mother of Monsters, and MCC number 16. All the M's are confusing me, Mike. MCC number 16 was Book of Monstrous Mutants. Remember that correctly?
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of M's. Then Advanced Advantage, the VTT tokens. So if you're just looking for the core Dungeon Denizens assortments, this is your jam. Now I'm going to scroll down. Tell me if my scrolling screws up anything, everybody. Then we have even more stuff. So we have what we're calling the 5e full collection, or the DCC almost full collection. It's almost full because we didn't throw the leather bound in there. The leather bound costs, it's like $170 or something like that. It turns out printing with real leather is very expensive. So that will totally unbalance this pledge level. So that would be an add-on. So that's why it's full for 5e and almost full for DCC. But you get in this collection everything that was in the Dungeon Denizens 2 collections that I just outlined. In addition, you throw in the oversized monster alphabet with that amazing Aero Lotus cover to come, and how to write even better adventures. And we upgrade the Dungeon Denizens 2 from the color cover to the foil cover, and then throw in the D16 as well. So for the 5e edition, you save 20% and get all that stuff thrown in, plus the free PDF. And Matt, I'm realizing I guess we couldn't fit the free PDF in here. It doesn't say that on this graphic.
Too much
it's probably
stuff.
too much to fit. Yeah.
Right.
And then on DCC, the almost full collection, again, all the things you get in the Dungeon Denizens 2 crowdfunding collection. The hardcover is upgraded to the foil. You still get DCC 112 and MCC number 16. But also, we forgot to even mention Tome of Adventure number 8, which is the DCC Dying Earth collection, and DCC number 68, which is the hardcover People of the Pit foil cover, and the MCC core rule book in fluorescent, and the DCC core rule book by Wilma Cosland, and then of course Monster Alphabet and How to Write Even Better Adventures. The DCC edition costs quite a bit more than the 5e full collection, primarily because there's a whole bunch of hardcovers thrown in. Just due to the way we mix the products this time, the 5e side has the Flumps Magical Treasure Collection and some floppies. But on the DCC side, there's a lot more hardcovers, which should drive up the cost. But they are really cool and hundreds of pages and an amazing amount of content. Mike, you're going to throw in something.
I say you'll get 2 entire rule sets with that. So, I mean,
2 core rule books. Yeah. And you can add on the leather-bound edition, which we'll talk about in a sec. Then we get into the color cover editions. Now, these color covers, as it says, are not final covers. Matt is the one who will see Doug's amazing cover art first, and then we'll eventually update these graphics with the final cover. Actually, we'll make that a reveal. Maybe a week or 2 into the project, we'll reveal the art that Doug turns in, which is always awesome, and then the treatment for it. Maybe around the same time we let backers vote on what hide they want to put it on. Because honestly, I mean, if he turns in the cover that has a certain like fritter vibe to it, it might change what kind of monster hide you want to put it on,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Anyway, but if you want the Monster Hide Edition with the Advanced Advantage playtest pack, you'll save 15% with these pledge levels. And then down here is where we start doing different mix and matches. And I want to make sure I catch all the chat here. So I'm going to pause for a sec to read the chat because I got windows that interfere and stuff. But here you have different mix and matches of the Dungeon Denizens 2 for 5-year DCC with 2-page delves and VTT tokens. But not the full collection because it doesn't have the floppy adventures, so to speak. And then we're going to have people who see all the crazy names, the incredible A-list names, and how to write even better adventures and want to back the project just for that book. So we have a pledge level just for that book over here. Some people are going to just want that amazing Monster Alphabet content and cover art. So we have a pledge level just for Monster Alphabet over here, again, saving 15%. And again, pledge level just for the Flumps catalog of magical curiosities with, of course, free PDF, or the William McCausland wraparound cover. You know, while I'm saying this, guys, we should get Will on one of these live streams. It is always interesting hearing his thought processes and seeing the original art. Maybe he could come talk to us about that cover.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Then if you just want the DCC leatherbound, this is the one to get. There's also an add-on. So if you pledge for one of the other levels, you can add it on. Something to note here, this is real leather. It is signed. And there's 500 remaining. So who wants cramps in their hand? So what we're going to do is some of us have agreed to sign the tipped in autograph sheets. I know what's going to happen. You know, we're going to get to $4.99 and be like, okay, we can sign 50 more. Then we're going to upgrade, you know, to $5.50. But basically, they'll get to some point where some of us just can't sign anymore. So as of right now, we're offering 500 of this autographed edition. Once those are gone, we will add a version to this that is the same book, but just doesn't have that tipped in autographed page. So if you want the autograph page, make sure you back early and get it before they're gone. And when you guys come to Dungeon Con, hopefully you're all coming to Dungeon Con. It's in May. It's in our warehouse in Fort Wayne. It will be an amazing amount of fun. And at Dungeon Con, we will be, you know, running lots of games, having a warehouse sale. By the way, the tickets are sold out for the actual gaming, but you can still get tickets for the warehouse sale. But what some of us will be doing the few days beforehand while we're all together is signing lots of books. So we will be signing all those tipped in autograph pages at Dungeon Con.
I'm signing mine in invisible ink.
Right, okay, yes. I know. Actually, maybe we can get Doug to draw like little sketches in the corners of some of them while we're all hanging out. If he's sitting around with nothing to do. What?
I know
only 500. Yeah, I know. All right, so let's see what else we got going here. Then we have the fluorescent edition of MCC RPG. This one, sorry, I'm distracted by my other windows. Hold one sec. This one we talked about, if you want to get just that. So again, we're looking at pledge levels here. There's add-ons as well, but if you want just this MCC, it's just sort of baseline pledge level. You can get that here. And I'm going to scroll down. We always offer a pledge level, which is the literally everything. Some people just want to make it simple and they pledge for everything. So this is the all of it, all in for all of it pledge level. This does include the leather bound because we called it all of it. So it's quite expensive, mostly driven by that leather bound, but it is literally every 5e product, every DCC product, the leather bound, all the systems neutral things, the VTT tokens, the t-shirt, all of it. And then we have a retailer pledge level, which is only for verified retailers. By the way, I can't remember his name. I was at the Gamma Expo 2 weeks ago. Thank you to whoever you are, the retailer who we had an in-depth conversation about how we do these pledge levels. And he had a lot of great suggestions about how we mix and match how much of each thing we put in. He was actually wearing the X-Crawl t-shirt because he was like, why do you put t-shirts in the retailer pledge levels? Like, I don't know what size I'm going to sell. So he basically always gets our t-shirts in his size and wears our t-shirts. But thanks to you, this retailer pledge level technically does not have everything because it does not have the t-shirts. And it sort of skews more heavily towards the sort of A-list items and less on the accessories. So thank you for that feedback, Mr. Retailer. And then down below, we have the PDF pledge levels, the Dungeon Denizens 2 and PDF for 5e or DCC, and then How to Write Even Better Adventures, Monster Alphabet, and Flumps catalog. Now, when you add on and do add-ons, there are lots of add-ons for PDF. We don't have a lot of sort of mix and match PDF levels. So I'm especially interested from PDF backers to hear what mix and match they want. It's slightly different because obviously the cover variations don't make as much sense. You can't really do a leather bound or fluorescent on the PDF edition. So if you're a PDF backer and have feedback on that, please let me know. I think I'll briefly turn to the add-ons tab to highlight one thing. And hopefully everybody can still see this. Some of these pledge levels have a lot going on. So on the add-ons tab, you can do certain things to simplify. You can add on the core rulebook with a signed leather-bound edition that includes the slipcase. You can add on the VTT tokens. We're also adding here just the slipcase upgrade. If you want to get the McCausland cover and just throw in the slipcase, you can do that here. You can do that with the t-shirt. And somewhere on here, here it is, the foil upgrade. If you do a pledge level that has the color cover edition of Dungeons & Denizens 2 and want to upgrade to the foil edition, just do this Monster Hide foil upgrade. And when it comes time to fulfill the pledges, we'll swap out the Monster Hide foil edition for your color cover. Now, Chris, Matt, Mike, you might have been monitoring the chat more closely than me. Any things you see that we should address here, or questions we should answer?
Sure. And this one's a little bit harder to answer, but someone asked about will the products be available for sale individually at a later date? And I think the answer is yes and no, right?
Yes. So all this will be available individually later on. The crowdfunding editions will probably not be. So the crowdfunding editions for the floppy adventures, as we call it, DCC 112, MCC 16, FEF 35 and 36, the crowdfunding editions are printed with foil on the cover, and then we don't offer that for the retail editions. And then for Dungeon Denizens 2, the hardcover, that will have the bonus pages if you pledge here, roughly 16 extra pages of even more monsters, and that won't be in the retail edition. But they will all be available later on. Other than that, they will be available later on for you to buy after the campaign.
Michael David Davis is asking for the all-in DCC with leather-bound edition and signature card, but without foil edition upgrade. Does that just mean they need to get that add-on for the foil to upgrade their regular version to?
Oh, you want this one, but without? Oh, interesting. Yeah, you're right. It would add more flexibility if we made this the color version, and then you just add on the foil if you want it. That is a good call, Michael. Let me write that down. Let's write this down. Can't forget. Hold on. Am I sharing my email now? Let's not do that. Somebody else write that down and tell me. Okay.
I'll write it down.
Okay. I guess I could use like a pen. Hold on. But let's see. Do I have one of those archaic devices? Wow. Look what I found. Check this out. I'll write this on the back of my credit card statement. Okay. Cover edition.
Share that.
You probably use pencils at the gaming table and actual dice too.
Yeah, I was telling these guys a story. I need to tell this. How do they do this on TV shows where they substitute the names? I won't name any names.
Yeah,
basically,
right.
I gave for the group recently, and we were playing 5e, and I brought my dice, obviously, and my pencil, obviously. And I was the only one to bring dice to the table because they were all using, in a non-disparaging way, they were all using the point build system out of, was it D&D Beyond, I think? And I was just, I like rolling dice, man. It's just floored me that literally nobody brought dice to the gaming table.
Whatever I'm playing, I want real dice. I don't know. I like that clickety clack. Hell's fire. Of course,
Seriously,
all my friends are monsters.
Exactly, and imaginary monsters at that. But I bet they had great stats, right, Matt?
Yeah.
So I rolled up my PC. I rolled 3d6 straight down the line, and got better stats than anybody else who used the point spy system. I just had like a good night, But I also got. Anyway, I won't tell you about my character, but I got a crazy build.
About your paladin.
So, yeah, exactly. You wouldn't believe a sword. No, so okay. Any other questions from the chat we can address?
Save it for the OT show.
You're right. We'll have 19 hours.
We're gonna need to fill. We want to hear all about your character.
Yeah, good call. Okay. All right. Any other questions from the chat? What else we got?
I don't see this in the chat, but I did want to mention, if people are considering whether they want to back now or whether they want to buy things individually later, obviously there's discounts for doing it now. But I think one thing we didn't mention is the chevron, right? There's a chevron
the returning backer sticker. Yeah.
So especially if you backed before, continue to back, because returning backers get that chevron sticker that's going to only be available through this campaign, right? That's not a thing that you can get later on, unless you mug someone, I guess. But we're not suggesting that's a good idea.
Mugging people for their books is not endorsed by Good Games.
Right, fair enough. Right, we know it happens, but we don't endorse it.
Mobius Metroido is asking if there's a pledge level that just has the main books for both DCC and 5e, or maybe both the DCC and 5e Monster Hide cover books, just both together.
So I think I'm going to hopefully you can see this now. This basic collection is just the Denizens 2 stuff plus the floppy adventures.
Yeah,
So
but
I
think
and you
he
save
wants both
20%.
versions of the monster book because a lot of people do seem to get both
like the
versions
5e
of just the
and
monster books.
Yeah.
interesting.
The 2 pledge levels next to that combined.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want, and
Yep.
Mobius Metroido, let us know, you want basically this, if you can
Yes.
see my
Both.
mouse
Yep.
here.
Yep. He
These
confirmed.
two.
Yes, both versions.
Ah, interesting.
That might be a worthwhile pledge level because
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud. Nothing wrong with adding a pledge level, but then are we going to get a request for all this together and all this together?
well,
And eventually it becomes, it's already a lot
Yeah.
of stuff. Metro's,
I mean, you could
Mobius
just back
Metroido.
one of them, your favorite one, and then add on the other version. is how
Exactly.
you
That's what I'm
do
wondering. Would that meet your need
Yeah.
if you backed one and then added on the other one? Or is
Yeah.
there something I'm missing here?
No, that makes sense.
That is one extra
just-
click.
That's true. I just don't want this pledge level. We did one campaign and we added on like 5 pledge levels. And when it came time for fulfillment, we were like, oh my God, it just gets so complicated.
Yeah, he said, right, that makes sense. So
Okay.
we'll call that the Mobius method.
Nice.
Yeah.
you
There's
need
this fine
both.
balance of like adding pledge levels and editing,
Yeah.
and then later on in fulfillment, driving yourself insane and slowing down fulfillment. So we got to find that middle ground.
Mhm.
Cool. What else? Any other questions we can answer or adjustments we can make?
I think that's it. Scrolling through the questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Great call, Michael. We will tweak that one level. And if you guys have any other feedback, if you're watching this on YouTube, by the way, later on, feel free to drop a comment in there. We'll try to monitor those comments as well. If you have any feedback on these pledge levels, also like and subscribe while you're at it. Or you can always email us info@goodman-games.com and we'll, try to address it there as well.
Awesome.
Option to make the t-shirt glow in the dark. So I tried this years ago. The trouble is when you wash it, glow ink comes off pretty quickly. You know how like all the crinkly, the foil stuff becomes less sparkly after you wash it a couple times? The
Mhm.
glow ink actually comes off pretty fast. So people loved it the first time. And then like 6 months later, we got a bunch of email that were like, I washed it 3 times and now it doesn't glow. So
Wow.
Wait, we're supposed to wash our shirts?
dude, didn't you read the Gen Con procedures? Yes.
I didn't.
And shower and brush your teeth. It is disappointing to me that we have to put this in our policies,
Oh.
but it has come up. So,
But-
yes.
Hey, but the shirt doesn't go in the shower, right?
Dry clean only, right? It's
Directly only, yes. All right, cool. Well, thank you everybody for watching this and giving us your time. We will make some tweaks to this, and we're looking forward to having a fun project launch next week.
Sounds great. Very cool. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.